So it's been a few weeks since I bought the Huawei Mediapad M5. I've got the 8.4 inch version here. So I thought I would do a video, tie up my thoughts, give you my overall impression of this tablet in this video. So, I want to talk about some things like the features and specs and all that. I want to do a close-up, just showing you some things, the actual display in the tablet and all that. But yeah, just give my overall impression of what the tablet is like. Overall, I love it. I think it's an absolute fantastic tablet. Very speedy. I don't, I'm switching from a flagship phone. I don't notice any difference in performance. I think it performs really well. And it's important to note that because I think I'll show you the specifications, but you can be tied down sometimes by specifications and put a little bit too much emphasis on it. I think sometimes you need to remember that it's not just the specifications, it's also the OS and it's how everything is put together. And as far as performance goes, this thing is very fast to use. I've never had any problems with it. I don't think I will. Now, as far as, I've got the 8.4 inch version. There is another version. There's a 10.8 inch version. And you can see the two versions there. 10.8 inch version is obviously a little bit heavier. It's a lot bigger. The pixels per inch in the one that I've got is better because it's a smaller screen, but it's still a 2K screen. Now, I bought mine from America, and you can see here that the M5 8.4 is $320, $360 for the 10.8 inch version, and up to $450 there for the 10.8 inch version Pro. That one, I think it's got an overclocked CPU and GPU, and it also comes with a tablet pencil, so you can write and you can draw and you can do things like that. So if you click on that, it probably tells you that there. Yeah, so that one comes with, some additional things in it. But apart from that, most of the things are the same in that version. Now, I did look at that version. When I was buying it, they only had the 8.4 inch version or the Pro version. And to me, it didn't seem justified to pay like an extra $100 or $150 at a time to get that version. Especially when I was buying two. I bought one for my dad as well. But, as far as size goes, you can see here that the 8.4 inch version is only $40 cheaper. In the UK, it's, the difference even less. It's £300 there for the version I've got. It's only another £10 for the larger version. Now, I think this is a fantastic tablet, but you have to bear in mind that the last time I owned a tablet was a few years ago, like 2 years ago or so. I gave it away. It was the Lenovo 7-inch version. It was underpowered. It was slow, and it really wasn't a great experience in comparison to my phone. This is very different. Now, the 7-inch version I think was too small. The 8.4 inch version, a lot of people, when they're talking about tablets, they talk about it being a sweet spot. It's great for reading. It's not too heavy. It's quite light. You can take it around, but it's still good for YouTube and for gaming and things like that. I agree with that. I do think this is a fantastic size. 8.4 inch isn't too small. It's not too big either, so it's not too heavy. I'm not saying you'd hold it all day with one hand, but it's light enough that you could if you wanted to. I don't think you could do that with the other version, which is 10.8 inches. It's a lot heavier, a lot bigger. But that being said, if I'm totally honest, if the difference in price when I was buying it was only another £10 or another $40 or whatever for the larger version, I think I probably would have been persuaded and went for the larger version. I think it probably gives you more value for money, bigger screen and all that. It's maybe a good thing that I didn't, because I do think this form factor is probably better for me. But yeah, there isn't a big difference between those two, and I think that going back, in the mindset that I had at the time, yes, I'm very happy with this. I love the size. I think it's a sweet spot for tablets, but I probably would have opted for the bigger one just from a value point of view. That is what it is. So back to the website. Let's go through some of the specs. I know I've talked about them before, but let's go over some of them again. So I talked about the 2K screen there. Battery life is something that I think it's always hard to gauge at this point when you've only been using it a few weeks, but it's very quick at charging. That's something I noticed quite quickly. I'll stick it down at your charge. I'll go away for an hour or two and it's like a full charge. It's really, really good. I haven't been monitoring it. I haven't been checking it to see how much it's getting per hour, but it does seem very quick at charging, probably quicker than my phone, to be honest. Yeah, so it seems very good in that regard. As far as battery life goes, well, it's the same like anything else. If I'm using it all day long, I'm probably getting a day and a bit. But that's like looking at YouTube a lot. There's certain games I've installed, like I'll show you this game. I've installed a game called Cash Inc. It's one of those clicky games, you know, you're just like tapping it all the time. It's not even a good game. It's annoying, but it's also addictive. But the reason I'm bringing up that game is because it does drain the battery. And if you're playing games like that a lot, if you're playing games like that all day long, games that do drain the battery, then, well, you're going to have to charge it a few times. If you're playing a really draining game, a really hard game, well, one that kills the battery, you're going to have to keep it charged, probably if it's going down. And also, when it's charging, it probably won't charge it much more because everything's getting drained by that game. You guys know this. It's the same with phones. It's different with YouTube. YouTube, it'll charge. You can be watching YouTube and it'll still go from 20% up to 50% and all that. If you're playing a really intensive game or a game that drains the battery hard, then you can be charging it and you're not really getting much battery because you're punishing the battery. Kind of common sense in that way. So it talks about there as far professionally tuned Harman Kardon speakers. The speakers at the top and at the bottom of this tablet. And I will say, you're not going to win any awards for speakers as far as, you compare this to top of the line Bluetooth speakers or even, $50 Bluetooth speakers, anything like that. It's not going to compare. For a tablet though, very, very good. And this is one of the problems you get with a lot of the cheaper tablets and cheaper phones where you've got this one little speaker down the bottom. But because you've got speakers here and there, you get it in stereo. It's, I think the quad speakers, they're really, really good. Sound great. For me, they're perfect. As far as audio goes, there isn't a headphone jack. They do provide a USB Type-C to 3.5mm adapter for that. For me, personally, it hasn't been an issue because I'm using it in the house. If I was going on a plane journey, a train journey, doing any kind of traveling, I'd probably take Bluetooth headphones or I'd take the adapter. So for me, for what I'm doing, it's not a big problem. But yeah, something to take into account. The other thing to note down there is actually down here, the sound kind of comes out this one, but the microphone is there. Now, I found that a little bit annoying because when I was recording some videos for you guys, I'll refer to that down below. You'll see a link to that video. So I was holding it like this, because yeah, it's quite light, but you still need to hold it, and you don't want to put your finger over the screen so that you don't push anything. One of the videos I did when I was testing it, I was pushing the autofocus because my finger was on the screen. But if you hold it like that, you're blocking the microphone and the audio will be terrible. So you kind of need to hold it like there, or you just can't put your finger down there. Normally, the mic, I think the microphone position, I'm a fan of tablets that actually put in two microphones, if I'm honest, just so that, and that's the situation doesn't arrive, but if you're holding it a certain way, the microphone isn't blocked. But it's a tablet. You set it down, you use it for Skype or, a video call or taking a video or whatever. It's all good. Just be aware of where the microphone is. And this is advice that goes for any phone or tablet. Don't cover the microphone. So I'll quickly go through some of the features here. 2K crystal display, 3D sound, multitasking, Android 8.0. Right, so as far as that goes, yeah, it came with Android 8.0 right out the box. There was an update the other day, actually, so they've updated it already. I noticed there was an update the other day. It was like, to download a couple of gig or whatever it was, and I had to install it, update it. I suspect that we'll get Android 9.0 Pie, but I haven't really checked the news for that yet. I suspect they will, because it's a new product. It's a 2018 product, so I'm pretty confident. Even if they didn't, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it, because, you go and look at Android tablets out there. Yes, you've got the Samsung Galaxy Tab. Yes, you've got the Huawei Mediapad. But you're going back behind that, you're seeing, all brand names anyway, Sony, Lenovo, all these older tablets, they're all on Android 7 or Android 6, and some of them are even older at Android 5.0. So to get a tablet Android 8.0 right out of the box is pretty good. And you notice there it's got the Kirin 960 chip. I've been happy with it. There's some people always say, the Snapdragon ones are better. I've been happy with it. That's all I can say. As you can see, unique features. View up to 1.5 hours of your content after a single 30-minute charge. Mediapad M5 10.8, 8.4, and you can see it is significantly smaller. 32 gigabytes it says there. Now, this is because it's defaulted to the UK version. I've actually got the one from the USA, and mine's is actually 64 gigabytes, and they all come with a micro SD card slot as well. So yeah, as far as storage goes, I don't think I'm ever going to have any issues personally. I'm using it more as a consumption device more than, you know, something to take a lot of photos and videos. So you can see the CPU and all that there. High silicon Kirin 960 octa-core, 4x A73, 2.4 gigahertz. That one says 2.1 for the larger one. Kind of surprised at that. EMUI, that's Huawei's operating system. 4 GB of RAM. And GPS. This is something that, you know, I hadn't really been thinking about this when I bought it, but this does have GPS. You could, if you wanted to, put it in a holder in your car, or if you're going somewhere as a passenger, put on GPS, and yeah, you've got yourself a satellite navigation system. You know, you can download Google Maps or any other service like Nokia Here Maps and all that, and yeah, you've got GPS built in. For me, that's quite good. Now, it says it is available on cellular version only, so I don't know if that means I've got the cellular version. I don't know, but I do know that I do have GPS on my tablet. So I don't know if that bit's true or not, because I don't think mine's has got space for a SIM card, and it does have GPS. So yeah, I won't bore you too much with the specs here, but the cameras, yep, 13 megapixels in the back, 8 megapixels in the front. So, as far as camera goes, well, I will refer you to my dedicated camera test video and my overall impressions of it during the daytime, like right now. Front camera, back camera, I'm very happy with it. And I said this before, there was a lot of, I've seen some reviews and they criticise the cameras on this, said that were awful. I disagree. I think it's unfair to compare this to a smartphone, which is, you know, more expensive, and I think most people who use a tablet tend to have a smartphone in a pocket anyway. I think the cameras on it are more than acceptable, much more than acceptable. You know, I think they're really good for Skype calls and all that. But like all cameras, when it's low light, when you don't have good lighting, I won't beat around the bush. The cameras are terrible at night time. So if you don't have good light, these cameras are really bad at night time. It's very grainy. You know, it's going to be hard to see what you're looking at. So that could be a problem in certain situations if you're, say, in a hotel room, you're doing a Skype call with your family, and you don't have good lighting. But that's the same criticism for any smartphone, for any laptop, you know, webcam, anything like that. For me, I'm very happy with the webcams. I really am. I really am happy with the webcam. I did a live stream, and again, that'll be linked down below, and I did a live stream with this tablet. It didn't look too good in my opinion, but that's because YouTube do a lot of messing around with the encoding, and their official app really downgrades, reduces the bit rate when you're uploading. So that was a little bit disappointing, but that's more to do with the YouTube app rather than the video, because when I actually do a dedicated video with it during the daytime, I think it's very good. So yeah, price, I was talking about price there. I think the price point for this is very, very good. You're going to have to spend a couple of $100 more, a couple of £100 more if you want the new Samsung Galaxy Tab S4 or even the older S3. It's still a lot more expensive. I think for the 10.8-inch version and the 8.4-inch version, I think they're one of the best Android tablets in the market today. I think that if you want the best Android tablet today, you're probably going to have to get the Samsung Galaxy S-Tab S4 or even get the older S3. They were always at the top of the market, but you have to pay for it. As far as the best tablet in the market, well, I think the iPad Pro still has that title. It's faster. The camera's a little bit better, I believe. I'm not testing it myself, but I believe they are. And I think Apple, for all the criticism I've given them for being too expensive and all that, they do have a more refined system as far as as far as tablets go. They've got a lot of dedicated tablet apps. That being said, I haven't had any problems with any apps on this tablet as far as them only being optimized for smartphones. So yeah, so I do think that the iPad Pro probably is still the best tablet on the market. But again, you can't talk about the iPad Pro and being the best in the market. You can't talk about the Samsung Tab S4 and S3 being the best Android tablet in the market without talking about price. Those tablets are much more expensive. So I think a more likely comparison for that would be the regular iPad, which, again, maybe it comes down to preference at that point, because I think specs-wise they're maybe quite similar. I think the cameras are probably better on that one, at least from a recording point of view. I think the regular iPad only can record 720p. This can do 1080p at the front and back. So yeah, maybe that's the debate that you should be looking at, whether you get something like that or you buy a regular iPad. iPad Pro is much more expensive. So what I'm going to do is bring over my overhead camera and just have a kind of closer look at the tablet and just go over some more things that I've not covered so far. So guys, here it is, my Huawei Mediapad M5, and you can see I've got it in this little cheap smart cover. This is one of the most common cases that you'll see for this. You'll see leather ones, you'll see ones with harder shells, ones that offer a little bit more protection. The reason I went for this is, one, it was cheap, and two, I was concerned that I was buying this super light little tablet and then putting it in a massive case that made it bigger and heavier. So I opted for this, and it's just an imitation of the one that Apple sells, that except it's like $5 to $10. So works really well, wakes it up and all that. So I've did a video about that. One of the things this case does do is protect the back quite well. Some of the cutouts, I guess, it does expose it, top and bottom and all that. It's quite a good case, I guess, across the board. But one of the main things it does do is protect the camera here, and that is something that, well, I think most people might be concerned about, because this has, if I show you, this has a raised camera, and you can see there at the side it's kind of raised like that. Now, if you want to use it naked, then I think that could be a concern, because if you're sitting it down like that all the time, it's one of those things, I haven't tested it myself, but personally I don't trust myself using this all the time, putting it down on surfaces and not scraping that. Might be fine, with the glass that they use, but yeah, for me, I'd rather put it in a case. That's just me. So you can see how light this is, and you can see the speakers there at the top and the bottom. It's very thin, it's very light, it's very sexy. So you can see some of the apps I've installed here. I find this system really good. It's not too bloated. There's a couple of apps that they've added that you can't remove, but it really isn't excessive. There's a few things like High Care. There's a mirror, just if you want to use a mirror. Some of them are pre-installed, like Messenger, which I didn't even want, but you can just uninstall it. So basically, most of the apps they do pre-install, like some of the ones they think that you'd want to get you started, you can remove them. Like Netflix, I've not actually logged in yet, but yeah, they install apps like that, but you can remove them if you want. It's just a few of the official Huawei apps that you can't, but you can disable them as always. As I was saying, as far as gaming goes, I've actually just installed this. I haven't been playing this, so before you start criticising my game playing, please bear in mind I am behind a camera and a big microphone. There's my excuses out the way. This was a game I actually used to, when I had my iPad, I think it was a 3 I had years ago, I used to have this installed and I played it a lot at the time. And I think that this is Asphalt 9, I think. I think at that point it was like 5 or something, or 4. It was years ago. But yeah, as far as all the games out there just now, I don't think there's many top Android games that this couldn't cope with. It really, I don't think there's any problems with that. So if you're a gamer, you're planning on actively gaming on this, maybe you'd opt for the larger 10.8 inch version. But I think this size is actually pretty good for gaming as well, because it's a little bit lighter in the hand when you're using it. So you can see graphics wise, yeah, this thing's a beast. It performs great. Absolutely no problems with slowdown or anything like that. As I was saying, I haven't installed too many games. This is the other game that I've installed. One of those clicky games where you just do that. And I don't even like it. I'm honest, I don't even like this game anymore. But it's so annoyingly addictive. Why does this exist? If you check my battery life, you'll see this is the biggest drainer of battery. But as far as gaming goes, you have to remember when these people are designing games for tablets and for phones, they're trying to appeal to the mass, the biggest audience they can. They want to appeal to the masses. So they're not trying to build a game that's too intensive. Yes, there are some games out there that can, look a little bit better if you've got a more powerful tablet or phone. But across the board, yeah, I don't think you'll see problems with that. Even basic phones can handle games quite well today. And this will just breeze through, everything. So let me see what we've got open here. Have we got anything? I was looking at microphones and stuff like that again. As far as browsing goes and all that, you know, it's absolutely fantastic. There's absolutely no problem. You know, it's fast. Same with YouTube. Everything's good. Everything's smooth. Absolutely no problems. And you know, as I said, you can overanalyze these things. You can look at these reviews of the Kirin CPU range versus the Snapdragon range and all that, but I don't know. It's one of those things. I think you can overanalyze these things, and I think that when you're actually just using the tablet, none of that matters because it just works. So yeah, look at the reviews. Maybe Snapdragon, the equivalent for it is maybe 5% quicker or 10% quicker, but when you're using it day to day, these kind of things aren't a concern. So yeah, the microphone is down here at the bottom left. You've got your front sensor there. You've got the back camera there that's raised, which is why I think that a case makes sense. Power button here, volume rocker there, which is the opposite to my HTC U11. Oh, in fact, not that one. I'm getting mixed up with my U phone, my Chinese phone that I bought. The Chinese phone that I had when I first got this was the opposite way around, so it was confusing the hell out of me. So yeah, you've got the home button here, and you've got your speakers up there, and then you've got your micro SD card slot there. Now, the home button works really well. You know, it's a fingerprint sensor as well. I found that, you know, look at that. Absolutely no problems. Now, one thing I would have liked personally is for the other buttons there to be there. Use that as a home button, have the other buttons there. That's probably one of the most annoying things about this. You can see here that they've got the navigation there. Now, I find that when you're typing, that if this is displayed here, then you can sometimes push this and it brings it back to the home page. I find that very annoying, but you have to just kind of make sure that you do that if you're typing. Just get rid of it and then bring it back. Now, there's a few different navigations options there as far as that goes. You've also got this navigation dock option thing. I haven't really used that. We'll see that in a second. You can see it there. Navigation dock. You can navigate things using this navigation dock, but personally, I'm not a fan of it. So this is the settings area for it. This is their, I think they're calling it EMUI, and you know they've got everything in the left hand side and the right hand side there, so you don't actually have to go into each screen. You can just jump between the menus quite quickly without going back, which is quite cool. Battery usage, you're going to see that game. Look at that game, 14% still running. YouTube stopped. And this is the thing, you can look at what's actually burning your battery. Android is a very refined system. There's a lot of things you can do with it. You know, as far as battery life and that goes as well, there's a lot of built-in options as far as smart resolution. There's like you can optimize the battery and things like that. Where it'll, you know, I had it set like 15 seconds or 30 seconds or something like that for the screen to go off, but I actually found that was annoying for me. So I put it back up to 5 minutes, but so it doesn't just switch off. And when I stop using it, I just push the power button so that the screen goes off. So just do that rather than make it go auto off. But, you know, there's options like that there. So there's really not much to say about, you know, actually showing you here because I've showed you all this before. Par for the course. The camera app, there was a few things I didn't like about it, if I'm honest. It's quite basic. It's got a lot of good options, but yeah, it's kind of basic in some ways. But it's got some cool options like audio control where you can say cheese or you can, you know, say different things like that to take a photo. There's options like that there. And, you know, there's got beauty mode and a few different things as well. Let's see it. Did I just take a photo? No, I didn't. So yeah, there's different options there. You can reverse the camera around. And then there's video. And so there's the camera. And you can see, you know, with it's hard to pick up the camera there because of the light above it. So yeah, camera's quite good. The app is maybe not the best out there, but it's not a big issue because, well, it's Android. You can download a million different apps. So that isn't an issue. It's got Google News and that built in there as well. Yeah, so overall, you know, I feel that I'm going over a lot of things here now because there isn't too much to say about it. I think that this performs very well. I think it's fast. I think the fingerprint sensor is fast. I think the cameras are great in the daytime and quite poor at nighttime. But during the daytime, with good lighting, I feel that the front camera and the back camera is pretty good. Fine for gaming. I've got Kindle. I haven't actually did too much reading on this yet, but this, from a reading point of view, I do think that the 8.4-inch version would be a better option. But you can see, yeah, this is basically the size of a Kindle. So from a reading point of view, this size is pretty good as well. Great for movies, great for YouTube, great for games, good for reading, good for browsing the web. And I do think that, admittedly, if Huawei notification, if I had seen the larger version, the 10.8-inch version at the time, I feel I probably would have opted for that, just from a value point of view. But maybe that would have been a mistake. This is a good size, performs really well. I can read and hold with one hand. I can browse. I've got a cool little smart cover. I'm happy with it. I really am happy with it. It is, without doubt, one of the best tablets released this year. So at the start of this video, I said that I think that this is a fantastic Android tablet. And yeah, that really does sum up how I feel about this. I think this is a very good tablet. I think it's a good price point. I think Huawei appeared to be so far good with updates, but time will tell. Decent speakers, decent cameras. Would have liked a headphone jack. Could have been handy for me plugging in microphones from time to time, for doing any YouTube videos. But not a deal breaker. I can use an adapter for that. Good for gaming, good for reading. Yeah, good overall size. And I'm sure that the larger version is really good for media consumption and all that as well. Very good price point, I think. If you're looking at a good value tablet this year, this isn't the best one. If you're thinking about performance, you really should be looking at the iPad Pro, or you should be looking at the Samsung S-Tab S4, or even the older S3. I think, though, from a value point of view, if this, again, to use that cliche statement, sweet spot, I do think this kind of hits the sweet spot in many ways. Now, if you're not caring about a warranty and you're okay buying from China, well, there's a few other options out there. You might buy, Xiaomi's have got a tablet and all that as well. But for a company that's operating in the West, Europe, North America, and that's giving you a warranty that you can buy directly through Amazon, that's quite good with updates and things like that. I think from a sweet spot. I think from a sweet spot point of view, from a value point of view, I do think that the Huawei Mediapad M5, I think they've got it right. Not too expensive. They're not, they're not really taking advantage of you in any way. I think it's a good price point, but the price point is quite close to what the regular iPad is, the 2018 iPad. So if you're not tied to the Android system, and you want to go into the Apple system, where perhaps there are some more tablet games and apps out there that are optimized for a tablet, I think you should also consider the 2018 iPad, or even the 2017 iPad if you can get it at a good price. But for the Android world, I think that if you don't want to pay through the nose for the Samsung Galaxy Tab, which is a better tablet, I would say, I think this is the one that you should maybe be looking at. That's the way that I look at it. So thanks for watching, guys. I realised I haven't covered everything. This really was just a summary, an overview of my thoughts on it after using it for a few weeks. I'm using this every day now, and it really is changing the way that I do things. I'm watching YouTube in it more here than on my phone. I'm checking things more on this than my phone. And annoyingly, I'm playing more games than I should, little games like that. So, yeah, I absolutely love the tablet, if I'm honest. It has been a few years since I've had one, so that is definitely influencing how I feel about this tablet. Maybe I just missed a tablet. But I think I'm going to be happy with this for the next few years before I look to upgrade. So, yeah, overall, very pleased. I think it's a good tablet, so well done, Huawei. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed these videos. I'll leave a link to all the previous videos. If you want to take a closer look, in particular at the unboxing and the camera test, that might help you consolidate your views on this tablet, whether it's the one for you. But from a performance point of view, I think most people will be very happy with this. So I'll put this back in its smart case. I'll fold it up, and I'll say goodbye to you guys. Thanks for watching, guys. Until next time, take care.